is up, guys? Happy Wednesday. We're so happy to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in with us for Youth Service Online. Gosh, we hope you guys are having a great and amazing week. Let's just prepare our hearts for some worship. Do whatever you gotta do. Quiet everything else. Put some earphones on. Whatever it is so that we can worship our King.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met. I was breathing but not alive, and all my failures I tried to hide. It was my truth till I met, and you called my name, and I ran out of that grave. Your freedom is all that I know. The old man knew Jesus when I met. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your my sin was heavy, the chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I breathe. I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you call my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Yeah, we give you praise this morning, Lord.
Oh man, I love worship so much. I know I say that every week, but guys, if I can be transparent with you, this past week for me in Lehua, it was a difficult week. You know, we went through a lot of stuff, and we found ourselves losing who we were. And so what we did was we took some time, we put some worship music on, we went in our closet, and we just worshiped God for a solid 30, 45 minutes. And it changed the whole outcome of the week. And I want to challenge you guys, if you feel like your week is spiraling out of control or that you're losing control of what's going on, turn some worship music on. Spend some time with God. And just remember how strong He is in moments where we just feel incredibly weak. That's my challenge for you guys. But this week we're going to continue in the story of Nehemiah. And if you guys watched Sunday service, Pat talked about chapter 4 of Nehemiah. And what's going on right now, I'm just going to pick us up real quick and before we go into the word with Pat. But what's happening right now is Nehemiah is building this wall, and there's this governor in the land who's getting really upset with Nehemiah. Because this governor, you see, he has a lot of power, but when it comes to this situation, Nehemiah actually has more power than he does because of what the king has given Nehemiah. So this guy's getting upset, and I'm going to actually read it for us in chapter 4, verses 1. And it says this. It says, when Sanballat, which is the governor, heard that we were rebuilding the wall, so he's talking about himself and the Jewish people, he became angry and was greatly incensed, which meant to be outraged or very angry. He became very incensed. He ridiculed the Jews, and in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria, he said, so envision this, right? He's talking to the people, but everyone's around him. The army, his associates, basically picture school, and it's the bully in front of all of his bully friends talking to the other person, right? That's what's going on, basically. But he says this. He says, what are these feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from the heaps of rubble, burned as they are? So basically what he's saying is, who are these people and what are they even doing? What's the point? Feeble. Feeble means like a dying plant. Like someone who's lost all hope. He's saying, what are these people that have no hope? So he's belittling them. He's belittling what they're doing. But he's saying, what do they think that they can accomplish here? What, are they going to offer sacrifices in this temple that they rebuilt, which is nothing compared to the old temple? You see, he's heaping these insults at these Jewish people who are doing their best to follow God, heaping these insults, and what's worse is his friend jumps in. Have you ever had that? Like someone's just talking and you're like, okay, dude. And then his friend jumps in and starts saying things and you're like, oh, geez. That might have been me in high school, I'm not going to lie. But his friend jumps in, his name's Tobiah, the Ammonite. He jumps in and he says, he was at his side and he says this. He says, what are they building? If even a fox climbed up on it, he would break down their wall of stones. So basically what he's saying is like, it's such a bad wall and it's so pointless that even if a small little fox jumped on his wall, the whole thing would crumble. First of all, it's probably the worst burn in the entire Old Testament. So you can write that down and tell your friends that joke. Just kidding, don't do that. They're just heaping these insults at these guys. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at what Pastor Pat says in this clip. And I hope you guys are equipped. I hope you guys are inspired. Let's take a look at this.
With no hope. So the enemy loves to come in when we're weak. So how does the enemy try to get me to quit? He mocks my weakness. He mocks the reality that I have limits. He mocks my capacity. He mocks me when I am weak. It's like when I get hit and I'm down and then he kicks me. That's how he gets us to quit. When we're already weak and we're already so well aware of our weakness, we're already so well aware of where we come up short, and then the enemy comes in and he likes to remind us, look how feeble you are, Pat, a man with no hope. And then after that, not only does he make fun of our weakness, he questions my commitment and my progress. Look at the words of this guy. I mean, he says, will they sacrifice on their temple? Look at the temple. He knew, just like the Jews knew, that their temple that they had now was nothing compared to the temple they had before. Sure, it's built on the same foundation, but it's not as big, it's not as beautiful. What, are you going to offer some sacrifices in your little temple? He questions their very commitment and their heart for worship. Will they finish up the wall in a day? Then he drops the fox diss, right? He's saying, look at how far you've come, and it's still nothing. He mocks their motives. He mocks their worship. He mocks their progress. It's like he's saying, who do you think you are? What do you really think you've done? How does the enemy get us to quit? He gets us to listen to those voices in our mind. Who do you think you are? Oh, you're a Christian? Have you looked at your life lately? Look at how you failed there. Look at that thing you're hiding there. Look at how you blew it over there. Look at how you were a hypocrite in that circumstance. Look at you. I feel the weight of those words sometimes. See, even when opposition shows up though, even when opposition shows up in a circumstance or even a person, we have to remind ourselves that this battle that we're fighting, it's a spiritual battle. We're not fighting people, even when it's people that are coming up against us. This is what's crazy. Now, the Bible says this, Ephesians 6:12. It says, we're not fighting against flesh and blood. We're not fighting against flesh and blood enemies. Evil rulers, though, authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, against evil spirits in the heavenly places. The Bible is telling us that there is a spiritual, supernatural world that is interacting with our natural world. And those things are happening, and those forces are impacting our day-to-day. Now, I know us, primarily Western mindset, that idea of immaterial and material, we struggle. We struggle even with faith in the West. But in Eastern mindset, the interaction between the spirit and the natural was very normal. And it was a very real part of their day-to-day. Even Peter will write this, stay alert. Watch out for your great enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. He's just waiting for opportunity. But we got to remember this, that no matter what we're facing, whether it's a circumstance, whether it's a person, it's not the person, it's the spirit behind that person, right? Because otherwise we'll never be able to love our enemy. And those are very real words that Jesus spoke in Matthew chapter 5 and 6, to love our enemy. And how unfair is that, by the way? Love my enemy. What do you mean I have to love my enemy? I have to love someone that makes fun of me, that takes advantage of me, that tries to ruin my reputation. I have to love them? What do you mean I have to love someone that is of an opposite political persuasion as me? What do you mean? That's not fair. I don't like that. And yet Jesus says, love your enemy. Because when we realize that we're not actually fighting people, we're actually fighting a spirit, and it's a spirit of the age, we realize that there's far more going on than we see with our natural eye. And it's the way that we keep our hearts soft so they're not hardened towards people, so that we can still find ways to interact with people with whom we disagree. This is really, really important. Look, in my own process over time, it hasn't been easy. Speaking of, mocking my commitment, my progress, taking advantage of my weakness, I said yes to Jesus when I was young, but did that stop me from coming to church with a hangover a few more times after that? Nope. Anybody else been there? Couple people? Nobody raised their hand. Nobody raised their hand. Ross definitely didn't raise his hand. Kimmy definitely didn't raise her hand. Look, I had a moment of encounter, but God was still working things out in me. Then I remember when it started to take. I brought my Bible to school one day. In high school, brought my Bible to school, and this guy, big guy, and I remember because he knew, I partied, did some different stuff, and then I remember he looked at me and was like, oh, what, so you're some Christian now with your little Bible? And I was like, well, yeah. Like I'm just trying my best here. But it was like the enemy was like, really, dude? I know what you did. It didn't stop there. When I get older, you struggle, Pat, and I've shared this so openly because I think it's so important, is that when I struggled with pornography early in my marriage, it was so easy for the enemy to be like, oh, really? You want a strong marriage? Look at this thing, this habit, this addiction. Look at this, man. Who do you think you are? See, it's not over. The enemy doesn't just like have an off day. He's always after us. What about when I lost my job? I lost my job right before my firstborn was born, Jaden, right? If you get laid off right before you're about to have a kid, when you're supposed to be like provider guy, I can tell you, and you maybe know this too, you don't feel like a good provider. You feel like a loser. And that's exactly what the enemy would tell me. Look at you. Oh, Pat, you preach some stuff, huh? You like to talk good? Look at you. Can't even provide for your family? Look, I've been in those moments, and it's been hard. I got that moment right when I took the job here. Do you really think you can do this job, Pat, at New Hope Hawaii Kai? Look at you, got your long hair coming from California. Who do you think you are, man? Look, there are those moments. But what was Nehemiah's response? Nehemiah got honest in prayer. Then I prayed, hear us, God, for we're being mocked. I love Nehemiah. I love his honesty. This guy gets in it. He's like, they're scoffing us. I pray that they get scoffed. Like, they're making fun of us. I pray that they're going to get made fun of. And then he says this, I pray that they themselves become captives in a foreign land. We were exiles. I pray you would take them to Babylon somewhere. Like, Nehemiah's getting honest. This guy's not happy. He's not sitting there thinking, Lord, would you just bless them? And just turn their heart. He's like, dude, Lord, just take them down. That's how they did in the Old Testament. Don't blot out their sins. Whoo! So how do I keep going when I'd rather quit? We got to get honest in prayer. Come on, we got to get honest in prayer, right? Is God scared of our emotion in prayer? Is God scared of our weakness in prayer? No, I think he likes it. It's not like we have to come to prayer at the moment and be like, just like so like perfect, like saints where we're just no problem. God, there was kind of a problem last week, but you know what, I figured it out, but I just want to let you know about it. No, man, just let it, give it to, he already knows what's in our heart. Man, there's so many times where I'm like, God, I felt like punching this dude in the face. Help me. Help me. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that's all my prayer is. A desperate prayer filled with tears or my face in a pillow screaming because I'm just so frustrated or overwhelmed or whatever it would be. Just whatever you need to do, just get honest in prayer because Jesus is not scared of your honest place. He's not scared of what's really going on in your heart.
Have you ever been there? Have you ever been in a moment where you just needed honest prayer? For myself, I found myself doing exactly what Pat was saying in that message of trying to figure things out on my own and then going to God later and saying, hey, God, this thing kind of came up, but don't worry, I figured it out. It's all good now. But the truth is that God knows our heart. He knows what we're going through already. And so reaching out to him and just talking to him, just having a conversation, screaming to a pillow like how Pat was saying. But it's honest moments like that that's really going to just blow up your faith. It's gonna just heighten everything that you're already doing. When you're getting ridiculed, when people are throwing insults at you and judging you for bringing your Bible to school, it's going to be those honest prayer moments that's going to get you through that topic. It's going to get you through that day. It's going to get you through that friendship, that hard moment in your life. It's honest prayer. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to jump into our Zoom meeting, and we want to talk to you guys about it. And if you feel like someone needs to be at the Zoom meeting, then go ahead and send them that Zoom invite. I know some of you guys were asking about that last week. But go ahead and join that Zoom call. We want to talk to you guys. We want to know what you know. We want to know what you have questions about. We want to know what you're struggling with, what your successes this week have been. But we want to know what you're going through. So hit up that Zoom link and we'll see you. I never know how to transition this part. We'll see you on Zoom. I don't know. We'll see you on Zoom. Just go. All right? Go.